Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and good evening again, club. Okay, so I'll just get right into it. It was a bright, sunny day. My family and I were vacationing in Kauai, and we had just gotten out of a church service. And a good friend of mine, Jonathan Liu, came up to me and he was like, "Hey, we're going canoeing and we're going on this hike, and we're going to go see a waterfall. You should come with us." So I've always been excited about going outdoors, being in nature, hiking, and all that stuff. It's just great. And so I was really excited. I begged my parents, let me go with them, and then they were like, "Okay, you and your sister can both go with them on this hike." And so I was like, sweet. So we get to the start of the hike, and it's just this wide river. It's very calm, and we get in these canoes, and we're just paddling upriver. And it's all going great, you know. It's just a short little paddle, and then we get out of the canoes. We're at this trailhead, and the trees are just beautiful. It's fall. It's yellows and oranges everywhere. The leaves are covering the ground. It's humid and tropical, and it's just awesome. So I was all excited, and after we pull the boats up, we're hiking. Before I know it, I turn around, everybody's gone. I was totally by myself on this trail in this unfamiliar place. And I was just like, maybe I should call out to some of the people. So I call out to some of the people and say, like, "Hey guys, where are you at?" No answer. So being the bright, intelligent young man that I am, I decided to just keep going without him. So I'm going down a little ways, and due to the leaves falling all over the ground, and the trees all looking exactly the same, the trail disappears, and I'm not sure where I'm going. I think, maybe I'm lost and should turn back. But I was like, "No, that's foolish. I'm not going." So I keep going. The trail starts to get steep, difficult, really hard, and I run into a dead end. So I was like, maybe I went the wrong way. So I turn around, I take probably 3 steps. I slipped and fell. It was muddy everywhere. I take off. I'm sliding down the side of this hill. I'm trying to grab stuff to stop myself so I can get up and get on my feet. I shot right off the side of a cliff. And I'm looking down below me. There's nothing but rushing water, rocks, and I feel like I'm falling in slow motion, hoping that the water is deep enough to break my fall. So I plunge in, my feet at the bottom, it's hard. I fell right between 2 rocks. There was one on this hand, one on this hand. I lost a shoe, my shoulder hit the rock, and I pulled myself out. I was a little out of it for a minute. So I climb up on the side of the river, and I'm just stuck by myself. I had nobody with me. Nobody knows I fell. There's nothing but trees on this side that are too thick to go through, and the cliff that I just fell off on this side. So after I calmed down, collected my thoughts, I was like, the only way I'm going to get out of here is by swimming back down the river. So I managed to swim a ways down. It was probably 200 yards to where the cliff had tapered off, and I could get up and get back on and search for the trail again and try and head back. But due to the leaves again on the ground, hiding the trail from me, it was difficult, so I decided I'm going to follow the river, because the river is going to lead me back to our canoes. So I'm heading alongside the river for a ways, and then I ran into another dead end. The trees were just too thick. There was no way to get through. So I decided to go back in the water, but luckily it wasn't so deep anymore. I didn't have to swim. I could walk through it. It was about this deep. I still had my shoe in my hand, my one shoe that I didn't lose. And I was walking down this river, and the rocks were cutting my feet. It was really sharp. It was really painful. But I was like, I gotta get back. I gotta get back to where the canoes are, as otherwise nobody's gonna know where to start looking for me. So I get a little ways down the river, and I start hearing people calling me. They're like, "Hey Larry, where are you at?" And I'm like, so I start running. I get all excited, and I turn the corner, and I see them all standing there calling me. They're all kind of spread out, but they're right next to the canoes. And they see me walking, with one shoe in my hand, down this river. There's a little waterfall, and they're like, "What happened?" And so I was like, I fell off a cliff. Silence. They didn't say anything. They were like, "Are "Are you okay?" So I said, "Yes, I'm okay." And then they laughed at me. They laughed at me really loud, and they were just like, "How did you manage to fall off a cliff? We didn't even see a cliff." And I was like, I told them what happened, and they were like, "Okay," and they laughed at me some more. We got in our canoes and we headed back. I think I was very embarrassed at this moment, but one of the things, I learned 3 very, very important lessons from this. One being, if you're in a new place, you're not familiar with your surroundings, you're with a group of people, and you try and attack something on your own, probably not the smartest thing. You're more likely to fail alone at anything, basically. 2 was probably that after something happens that's unexpected, it's really kind of difficult, but you have to calm down before you start doing anything. If you make a rash decision when you're all excited, you're probably not going to make the wisest decision. You have to collect your thoughts and then decide what your best course of action is going to be. The other thing that I learned was that God really protects us all the time in all the things that we do. Because when I was replaying the scenario in my head, I fell between 2 rocks in a hole that was, I still hit the bottom hard. And if I was a foot this way or a foot that way, then I could have been really hurt and nobody would have known where I was. So it was just an example of when God protected me.